You know, when you start renegotiating a contract, you don't know what position you're going to be. And if you're not in it with several other like-minded entities, you may have some difficulty, or you're going to be at the mercy of the provider of the energy. And that's one of the reasons this pool was formed, out of necessity for that.
And some of those member cities are around in our area are Mulvane, Udall, Winfield, Oxford, Anthony, Attica, Kingman, and Greensburg, Marion, Mount Hope. So there are, some very, in my opinion, some very progressive and obviously green cities that are moving forward. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. Mrs. Cordy?
Do you have any plans for the future that you would be able to furnish all of the energy for these cities? I mean, produce it yourself? And are you vulnerable to the grid going down? There's been a lot of publicity about how vulnerable our grid is in the United States to attacks. What can happen there? Or are we insulated, or is there any assurance that we would have energy even if the rest of the United States went down?
Well, let me try to answer your first question. We're always looking for the best possible source of energy that we can find for you. And lately, it's meant that we feel like ownership of generation is important in that respect, because we know what we're buying, we're getting it at a very good price, and of course we always have the reliability of the community-owned power plants. But even if that energy is too expensive to put out there in the market, we know that, for example, the Dogwood plant that we have is a very efficient natural gas-fired combined cycle plant. What you're seeing today, of course, with new regulations on coal energy, is that there are some coal plants, older ones, smaller ones, that are being shut down entirely. There are some that are being refitted to run on natural gas and not coal. So we see that as a trend that's probably going to continue as long as the price of natural gas is reasonable the way it is today. So we're always looking. We have a power supply committee who are made up of members of our various city staffs, and we are always looking at potential for purchase of new generation. That doesn't mean that the integrated market that we're in today won't have opportunities as well. We have just recently signed an agreement, a 20-year agreement, to purchase power from a brand new wind farm that's going to be built in Marshall County in north central Kansas. And we think that's a really good deal for the Kansas Power Pool. So we're always looking for that kind of thing. The second part, your second question was?
The grid.
Yes, the grid.
Problems.
We've had some, nationwide, the American Public Power Association discusses that issue. I can't speak to the physical threats that are potentially out there. I do know that there are cybersecurity threats that are definitely out there and are building every day. And we have tried to educate our members through sponsoring seminars about cybersecurity threats, and I know that we've had some of your Wellington staff attend the seminars that we have sponsored. But that's something that everyone, it doesn't matter what size the utility is, everyone is a potential window of opportunity for a cybersecurity attack through their own system or their own network that could filter out into the larger networks that are out there as well.
All right, Mr. Valentine.
Mr. Mark, getting back to this wholesale rates, does the price of oil have anything to do with this on the oil market?
Well, the cost of natural gas does, and you know, it used to be that that natural gas prices kind of followed oil prices. I don't know if that's still the case, but yeah, any of the carbon related fuels are they're going to fluctuate up and down, and that
so that's going to cause a fluctuation in
natural gas prices mainly. We have a fairly good mixture of energy fuel resources. Of course, we have the natural gas, we have coal, we have hydroelectric, some hydroelectric power and wind, as well as the local units that are dual fuel units. That is, they use both natural gas and diesel.
Thank you.
Mr. Eder, did you have something, and then Mr. Betts?
And maybe I'm asking this question, and maybe I didn't hear you correctly. How many of the other municipalities that are part of this are in the same or similar 20-year contract?
All of them.
All of them?
Yes, all 23.
And then the other question I have is, and I don't know if this is directed to maybe to Roy, is based upon the fact that we're in a 20-year contract agreement, do we have another option with this?
No, it's, we had a good meeting with Carl the other day, and also Mr. Chesney came down the other day too. We are, due to the bond situation, when the contract was signed, was based on bonds, and everybody having to basically sign off that whole 20 years to get that. So the short answer is no, and so we understand that.
And the reason I asked that is obviously because that was the 20-year thing before my sitting up here, and so I'm trying to pick myself up to speed.
Yeah, we're all trying to figure this out, but and one thing I do want to point out is that Cliff Zins was on the board, or was one of the board, and then we have now replaced him with who again?
Cliff Bales, I believe, is
John Bales.
I'm
John
sorry,
Bales.
Sorry.
Okay, so we do have representation. No? No shade.
We're showing actually that with Cliff leaving, you have, at least as far as I could see in our documents, that Roger Estes is your alternate member.
Okay.
You have not replaced your voting member in that Cliff filled. On the operating.
On the operating committee.
And so that's something that the council can do anytime.
Okay.
And let us know just in writing.
All right. Very good. Let's put that.
Do that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yes. And John Bales is on the KMEA board, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
two acceptable spots.
So hopefully we'll have a replacement for Mr. Zins here soon. All right, Mr. Betts, did you have something you want to say?
Carl, Mr. Eder kind of did get one of the questions I have. But secondly, I know some of our neighbors are members of this, and there's also some towns in quite a large area around. Is there any effort within the agency to grow the agency? Are there other cities you're wooing? I should say trying to recruit? Are you trying to grow the co-op?
Well, that's a good question. The KPP board of directors has discussed that very thing several times in the past few years. And we went through a situation back in 2008 to 2010 where we did have a large influx of members. And by the time of 2012, when we started looking at, well, let me say that we had 34 members back in that time, and today we have 23 who actually take service from KPP. Then when we talked about buying for the very first time our own generation, that's when some of the members decided that they didn't want to sign a long-term power purchase agreement, and they chose to opt out of the KPP with their 2-year notice.
Okay.
So that's how we got to 21 members, and then we picked up, in 2013, we picked up Mulvane and Waterville as new members. So, but to answer your question, we're always open to cities who want to join the KPP, as long, I think, at this point with the board of directors, as long as they do what you have done, and that is to sign the operating agreement and a power purchase contract to help with that situation. We are in some discussions with 2 or 3 cities in the north central part of the state today who are interested and have come to us about it.
That's the answer that I was looking for, because, you know, I was wanting to make sure that everybody within the pool of the member company, or member cities, are playing by the same rules.
Right. I think that's a concern that our board has too.
Well, and I'm also looking at the populations. It looks like Winfield is the largest community that you have. Augusta is second largest, and then Wellington is actually the 3rd largest, so.
And all 3 of those are original members.
Original members, okay. Well, I talked to the mayor of Augusta, and he gave it a thumbs up, so we'll continue on continuing. All right, I think we need a motion. Anything else? Anyone have anything else? Can I get a motion?
On the first resolution?
On the first resolution authorizing the city's continued participation in the Kansas Power Pool by approving the second amended operating agreement. We'll do that one first. Been moved? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution authorizing the city's continued participation in the Kansas Power Pool. We need a roll call vote.
Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Resolution, required majority of affirmative votes of members present met. Resolution number 5692.
Okay. And then our second resolution that we need is a resolution authorizing the city to continue its participation in the Kansas Power Pool, creating the Kansas Power Pool municipal agency by executing the second amendment to the agreement, creating the Kansas Power Pool municipal energy agency.
So moved.
Okay. Second? All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt this resolution. Mr. Shields, roll call.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Required majority of affirmative votes of members present met. Resolution number 5693.
I just do have one additional request, is that you will help further explain how it all works. So whenever we...
Anytime you would like us to come down and meet with you or anybody else on the council, we're very willing.
Well, that's what I was thinking, Carl. I think, you know, we're doing some town halls once a month, and I think it would be very interesting to have you as a guest, or Mr. Chesney to explain, because even though I'm trying to get my mind around it, it's still, you can still see the smoke, I'm sure, because it's a lot to take in, so.
Oh, anytime you want us to come down.
Okay, thank you.
I think what a lot of people want to know, is this the cheapest way to go? Is this the cheapest way to go, Carl? I'm asking it.
I can't guarantee it's always the cheapest way to go. Sometimes it is, sometimes it may not be, depending on the price of fuel.
And that depends on the rate projection. Yeah, that's what I'm.
Now, everybody's gonna pay the same transmission charge. But in terms of the price of fuel, you know, when the price of natural gas is really low, purchasing on the new integrated market may have some benefit.
That's right, that's
To
why
be
I
honest
wanted to
with
ask you
you.
that earlier. When
But if the price of
goes-
fuel goes up,
Right.
we think we are definitely the best route for you. And we're always looking for better sources. In fact, we are ending, at the end of this year, our power purchase contract with Kansas City Board of Public Utilities for their coal-fired Nearman facility, because they are going to be putting a lot of capital into renovating that plant to burn natural gas and not coal. We don't want to be part of paying that expense. And it's already been one of our highest energy resources anyway in terms of cost. So we are getting out of that contract at the end of this year, and we are in the process right now of issuing some additional bonds to buy more of the dogwood plant, which is very efficient.
So basically, I think power charge is the big thing people are looking at here. The power charge is based on what's your charge, right?
Yes. It's the power, well, if you're talking about the demand charge, that's based on your peak load.
Right.
Every month.
Right.
The energy charge is what it is. It's how much.
Thank you very much. I have no more questions.
Okay.
Thanks.
We're happy.
No, I think those have been great questions, Mr. Valentine, and I think, we all, with some of the rate changes and things that we're gonna be facing, I think, we do need to provide those answers. So I appreciate your questions, and thank you, Carl, very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
All righty. Now, moving on. A resolution finding that the structure is located on northwest, okay, now is this the one that the gentleman came and spoke about? Okay, right. So, we don't need to do that, but is there anything we need to do officially to give him more time, or since he showed up, we're all good then?
Well, when Mr. Ray comes into the office, we'll walk him through the process. Usually the process works that we'll have him sign an abatement agreement guaranteeing that the work will get done.
Okay.
And if not, when the abatement expires, then we can bring this back to the council.
What's
Okay.
the time frame on the abatement?
60 days to get started.
60 days to get started, or 60 days to complete?
60 days to get started.
And you're looking at just securing the property, that's not all new wiring or all new plumbing or anything, that's just making it safe.
Minimum safety code. So,
Minimum safety code if you're living there or for a vacant property or?
that will depend on what Mr. Ray's goal is, if he wants to move somebody in there or if he just wants to keep it secured.
Right.
Shelley,
Yes, Mr. Whitten.
Have you heard anything about our motel, or how's he come along? Or?
Mr. Johnson dropped off engineering plans yesterday from an accredited engineer. It actually passed review, and he came and picked up his copy and the letter from our city inspector saying that he could move forward and contract a contractor.
Awesome. Thank you.
And he's been emailing me as well, kind of keeping me updated, so that's been really good. All right. Thank you, Mr. Norton. All right, our next resolution is one finding that the structure is located on Northwest Edition, Block 12, Lot 6, Wellington, Kansas, commonly known as 613 West 12th Street, is or are unsafe or dangerous, and directing the structures to be made safe and secure or removed. Mr. Norton?
As I said during the hearing, this property, we have not heard back from the interested party. Again, the daughter of the deceased owner, Laura Bellman. The property has been vacant and in disrepair since September 24th of 2010, so nearly 5 years. It does owe back property taxes and special assessment taxes, equaling $961.38. Again, no work has been done to improve it. It continues to degrade. The roof, siding, the outbuilding, basically all of it is in disrepair, and the engineering department suggests moving forward on the demolition.
All right. Any comments, questions? This is the house that's right there as you come up, after you go by the little smoke shop and then you come up the hill there? Yeah. So there's a lot of kids and everything in that area too.
Yeah, it's about 4 blocks away from Eisenhower School.
Right. Right.
And it's also right next to a church.
Right, okay. All right, do I have a motion?
I move we proceed with the demolition.
All right.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt the resolution finding the structure at 613 West 12th unsafe or dangerous and be made safe and or removed. So, a roll call, please.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon?
Yes.
Required majority of affirmative votes of members present met. Resolution number 5694.
All right, and one more property, one more resolution, 1222 North Jefferson, a resolution fixing the time and place, providing a notice of a hearing before the governing body of the city of Wellington, Kansas, at which the owners, their agents, any lien holders of record, and any occupants of the buildings located below may appear and show cause why such buildings should not be condemned and ordered demolished. Mr. Norton.
Right, property condition is vacant and in disrepair. There's not been any city utilities at the property since November 3rd of 2014. The building currently appraises at $6,280, the land at $4,110, for a total of $10,400. There are no delinquent property taxes and no special assessment taxes. The engineering department has deemed this property unsafe and dangerous. The first letter of intent was sent to the owner of record, the Wellington Family Trust, on November 7th of 2014. The engineering department had been called out to the property by the city electrical department to inspect the electrical services. Upon inspection, engineering found the service to be unsafe and informed the owner the city utilities would be refused until the service was brought up to code. At the time of inspection, engineering found several other safety and code violations, including a compromised roof with several holes in the walls, including the entire back half of the property exposed to the elements. Upon receiving this information, the owner told the engineering office that he was considering demolishing the property himself or reselling the property. A second letter of intent was sent to the owner of record on May 1st, 2015. In the month since the first letter of intent was sent, no correspondence or communication had been received from the owner. After receiving the second letter of intent, the owner's power of attorney, his son Jim, contacted the engineering office and said that the property was being sold to another party, Martha Bockham. The engineering office walked Raleigh and Bockham both through the transfer of ownership process, which is a code, state code ordinance, that basically says that the new owner realizes that there is an existing case, a safety issue with the property, and that they are taking full responsibility for the property, and realize that just because the transfer, the new owner taking the course does not mean that any of those violations or the case is closed. They're basically taking on, at least they're taking the case on themselves. Okay? They both said they agreed to that, and a transfer of ownership letter was received on May 21st, 2015. Where it gets a little hinky is the fact that it has the, despite receiving the transfer of ownership letter, the new owner's name has not appeared on the deed. And this has been corroborated through the independent ownership and coverage report and through research through the title register of deeds at the courthouse. The original owner, the Brawley Family Trust, is still listed as the owner as of this afternoon, in fact. A second inspection of the interior of the structure could not be made, but an exterior inspection is made at the proper reasonable time and date. The roof is still compromised with several holes. The entire back side of the house is still open to the elements. Other parts of the roof are sagging in sections, showing evidence of extreme water damage and neglect. Other portions of the house, the siding has been compromised. There's no protection against the elements. And the electrical issue, which is what, again, initially got us called out, is still believed to exist because no permits have been pulled and no work has been inspected. For the reasons stated and support of the photographs provided, the engineering department would like to set a public hearing for Tuesday, July 21st, 2015.
Okay, we don't like hinky, but hopefully, since this is just setting the time and the place for the hearing, maybe by then and that time that you just said that some of this will be cleared up by then.
Correct. Both the owner of record, which again is still Raleigh Family Trust,
right, and
the new owner would have,
right,
new owner, we use in air quotes.
Right, time to figure this out.
Yes.
Okay.
For things to be
And
processed.
will you notify both?
You can.
I would say
Be a
go
good
ahead and do
idea.
that, yeah, just let's make sure all of our bases are covered, please.
And there has been contact between the Raleighs, the Bockhams, and the engineering office. Everybody's been made clear on what's expected and the process, basically.
Excellent. Okay, again, this is just setting the time and date for the hearing, so. All right, do I have a motion to approve this resolution? It's been moved and seconded that we set a time and place, provide notice of a hearing before the governing body, at which time the owners, their agents, any lien holders, and such for the property at 1222 North Jefferson can appear and show why such buildings. And again, what was that date? July
21st.
July 21st. All right. It's been moved and seconded. So all those, or no, roll call, please.
Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Required majority of affirmative votes of members present met. Resolution number 5695.
All right. It doesn't look like we have any study items. Thank you, Mr. Norton. We appreciate. Did you want me to address the other issue? No, okay, I didn't think so. Thank you very much. We want to save your voice. So, and then for future agenda items, we have some ordinances and other things coming up. Anything else, Mr. Eckert, that we need to address?
We have our budget in full swing. We do have a budget prep meeting 23rd. So just a reminder to everybody, and I'm going through those with fine-tooth comb now. We've met with all department heads, and we are very aware of our constraints on the budget for this year.
Right. And certainly appreciation to all of our department heads who have worked hard on all these budgets, and I know they're trying their best. But again, that's June 23rd, and that is a work session that is open to the public, and it will be here at City Hall, correct? On June 23rd, and what time is that again? At 5:30? At 5:30. So if anyone wants to come and listen to the budget discussions, you are definitely welcome. June 23rd right here in City Hall. I do want to take a quick, I should have mentioned this earlier, but I did invite everyone. Sterling House, which is my main employer, will be changing our name come next week. If you drive by our property at 500 North Plum, we will be Brookdale, Wellington. And on Tuesday, we are having a ribbon cutting in. I would love it if all of you could be there. You all have personal invitations. But it's just a change in name. Nothing has changed in the property, just same old, same old. All right, anybody have anything else they want to add? All right. Yes, Mr. Wetta.
Judy, did you come for a reason? Do you want to say something?
Thank you.
Supportive best friend, hello. And I think Judy also knows that when I said earlier that I do everything on time, she probably wanted to laugh out loud because I'm trying new things, Judy. So anyway, all right. Hearing nothing else, we're going to go ahead and close out this meeting of the Wellington City Council. We're adjourned. Oh, we didn't have you all vote.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Now we're adjourned. Bam. Thank you.